Hey, a cool question. How do you just keep on playing when you play the blues? How can you play a solo 6 minutes without running out of licks, without feeling like I have nothing to do now? And that's because it's a completely different process than we often do. When we learn a solo, we often focus on little pieces of other people's solos called licks, and we learn a lot of those. And then the whole process is about piecing those together, changing them a little bit, and then by emulating others, we learn the solo. But when you can play the blues forever, it's because you're not really firing off any licks. You are basically talking notes. And that's a whole different process. And that's the best piece of advice I can give. In fact, I have a whole course on this, the Power Blues Skill Builder. Never mind the commercial. But because that period of my life, of my practicing guitar, was just such an amazing thing. I thought the blues was like sup everything, right? It was too simple. And then I just got all fascinated with Stevie Ray Vaughan, who's not with us anymore, unfortunately. But I just suddenly discovered the fact that the blues is simple, but the soloing is where all the detail is. And he could just, keep on playing, and I found greater and greater pleasure in just hearing his solos over and over again because there was so much variety in them and so much expression, because that is one of the only musical styles where you actually improvise. And what happens when I went into that, before that, I was just basically just firing off the stuff I'd learned and trying to, pass time when I was soloing. And I was often surprised when it was over because I had no connection really to the music. I was just trying to play something that sounded cool. But the whole process of starting a solo and developing it and playing something every time because of what you just play, just like when talking. So I say something, I take a break, and then I say something new. And it's always connected. Everything's a string of information. And when I started, really going into the blues and playing over that chord progression over and over and over again, those 12-bar blues progressions, then suddenly I started, talking up against the chord. So it was like a whole different experience. And it became very simple. I used very simple notes, just like 3 or 4 or 5 notes in the same place on the neck. And I was practicing just following the chords, making musical sense instead of firing off random lines. And that is a totally different experience. And over, a couple of weeks, actually, I was suddenly in another world where I had learned to do that in all other kinds of styles of music as well, because it was really valuable. And let's just take, the first 2 chords of the blues. So we go. The A is rather it keeps hanging there. A blues. And then go back to, let's do it all, right? That was a bad loop. That did. New chord. Back to the. Back again, right? And here comes the next chord. And back again. That was one thing. Notice the chord changes. When you start making sense on that level, then you can play almost anything. It sounds like you're talking music. But that's a very valuable, and that's the best piece of advice I can give. And you should come to the point. With regards to the blues, I looped a little bit of noise here. With regards to, so you can actually sing it. So you have it in your body and you can start playing it. That's also another exercise I have in one of my free videos where you go, no looper pedal, you just go, ah. When you have that kind of timing where you have played the blues over and over and over again, so you never fall out of it, you never fall out of the rhythm because you just, and you focus on simple stuff, then you have an amazing skill. That means that you can actually play solos forever because you're just talking basically with notes, right? So you can keep on, painting pictures forever. To having little ideas, answering your own ideas, playing something new because of what you just played, because it's Beto. Beat that, beat that, didn't Beto. Beat that, and beat that, didn't Bodo. Bodo, Beto, Babo. That little Latin no, just something don't make that beat that did don't fucking do hey. You gotta get to that point where it's just so much part of you that there's no insecurity anymore. So have fun with it, playing the blues forever.